passion for and fandom of zombies, which I don't really consider myself a part of. Sure, I've enjoyed the occasional TV show and film, but I've never really gotten into it. So imagine my surprise when I realised that one of my favourite shows could in fact be considered one of the biggest zombie shows of all time. Game of Thrones. Now hear me out. Before the new season started, I took on the great challenge of rewatching the entire series. And a theme started to emerge. For a show so famous for its callous relationship to death, it sure has a way of making death non-final. You may not remember this, but the opening scene of the first season is a zombie scene. So perhaps it's egg on my face for not realising this sooner. And I think we can all agree that the whites are zombies. It's not a hard argument to make. I am proposing that there are 6 different types of zombies in Game of Thrones. To make this argument, we must first clarify the term zombie. What defines a zombie? What characteristics are required to earn the label? Now, I'm no expert, but as we're talking about a fictional creature, neither is anyone else. Oxford Dictionary defines zombies in popular fiction as a person or reanimated corpse that has been turned into a creature capable of movement but not of rational thought, which feeds on human flesh. And this I think we would all initially agree on. Someone who has died, who is undead, and can move around, who is not capable of emotion or rational thought, only driven by their hunger for human flesh. Or rather, brains. But if we consider canon, and we look into all the different types of zombies in popular fiction, this definition becomes a bit blurred. I will focus on 4 different categories of zombies to make my case. Category A, the classic. We have the Walking Dead zombies who fit the bill quite straightforwardly. They are deceased, slow walking, loud grunting, brainless brain feeders who can only be disposed of by bashing their skulls in. There is an infection, but everyone has been infected, so however you die, you will become a zombie as long as you have your brain. Category B, the sick. We also have the zombies in Zombieland, who are faster, and most importantly, they're not dead. They get infected by a disease, and it causes them to act in a zombie-like manner, eating humans and losing their ability to think or communicate complexly, but they are still alive. Category C, the feeler. A more recent trend in zombie culture is the compassionate, sentient zombie. For instance, the zombie romance flick Warm Bodies, where the main character falls in love with a human girl and starts redeveloping language. We also have the TV shows iZombie and Santa Clarita Diet, where both protagonists are able to keep living a rather normal life. They just have to adapt their diet a little bit. It seems then that the one common denominator of all zombies is their hunger for human flesh. However, we have one more type of zombie to cover, the one defined before the in popular fiction disclaimer in Oxford Dictionary. A corpse said to be revived by witchcraft, especially in certain African and Caribbean religions. Which brings us to category D, the meat puppet. Because we also find this type of zombie in fiction, the Inferi in Harry Potter for instance. They are dead bodies revived by a witch or wizard to do their bidding, with no capacity to feel or think, and no hunger for human flesh. It seems then that the zombie canon allows us to play fast and loose with the term. So let's! The first contender, the Whites, also known as the Army of the Dead. I'll begin with this category because I think it will meet the least resistance. These creatures are quite similar to the classic zombie, undead with no ability for rational thinking. They also seem to enjoy eating humans. But most importantly, they fall under category D. They get resurrected and controlled by the White Walkers and do their bidding in a hive mind fashion, controlled through some sort of magic rather than orders. Which moves us on to contender number 2, the White Walkers. This is where we start negotiating the term and definitions a little bit. These creatures are clearly humanoid, and they are undead. We learn that they're created by the children of the forest through being stabbed through the heart with dragon glass, killed, and resurrected as an undead being. Definitely zombie. But they're not category D dependent on their creator. And although it initially seems like it, they don't eat humans, but they use the sacrificed babies as a form of reproduction, turning them into little baby White Walkers. Side note, what happens to the babies after that? Is there like a White Walker daycare? Do White Walkers age? Because they don't seem to have aged from those cave paintings thousands of years ago. Or is it like a Twilight thing where they grow until they're of age and then they stop? If they do age, it seems like the dagger in the heart doesn't actually kill them, but rather profoundly changes them and their behavior, sort of like a category B zombie, infected and completely altered, but not actually dead. But then how can they be so old? I don't know, something doesn't quite add up there. Speaking of category B zombies, the Stone Men, or people suffering from Greyscale, are definitely zombies by this definition. You get infected by a disease that alters your mind until you become a mindless monster intent on killing people. Although it's not clear whether or not they actually eat people, I struggle to find another incentive for them to attack Tyrion and Ser Jorah when they're in Old Valyria. Clearly zombies, regardless. The fact that Jorah gets told that he should have cut off the infected limb as soon as he got touched in order to not allow the disease to spread is further support of this, as that is canon in a lot of other zombie stories, such as the Walking Dead franchise. My fourth contender is precariously placed on the base of they were dead and now they're alive again. Jon Snow and Beric Dondarrion. Now, as they don't really share any other zombie traits, I guess it's not my strongest argument. They seem more closely associated with the ideas presented in the last Harry Potter book. That once you've died, you don't belong in the world of the living, and you're never gonna feel like you truly belong or be truly happy if you get brought back. Dondarrion explains that every time he comes back it gets ever harder, and Jon Snow even begs Lady Melisandre to not bring him back if he were to die at the Battle of the Bastards, seeming to be unhappy and feel strange about being back in the first place. Let us then swiftly move on to another Stark, Uncle Benjen, who seems to be a hodgepodge of the previously mentioned. He was attacked by the White Walkers, yet before turning into a White, the Children of the Forest saved him by stabbing him with dragonglass. But he's not really a White Walker, neither is he a White, so I think I'd put him on the zombie scale next to the White Walkers. My last zombie contestant has been the most protested amongst my friends. The Mountain. The main argument against him being a zombie is that he's more of a Frankenstein's monster. But why isn't Frankenstein's monster a zombie? Man-made rather than a result of an infection. Dr. Frankenstein put together parts of the dead and reanimated them. Much like category D zombies, but with science rather than magic. And I would argue that Qyburn did a similar thing. The Mountain was as good as dead, but through his experiments he brought him back. He can no longer speak, because I don't think anyone bought the whole Pledge of Silence thing, and he's following orders even more blindly than before. A scientific version of the Inferi then. An original type of zombie. Did I forget any zombies from the series? Did I miss any crucial details I should have included? Do you violently disagree with what I have to say? I'd love to keep having this conversation in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.